Hello and welcome to another wonderful talk at the Positive Future Health podcast. I'm your health.
You
I'm
healthy
your health.
guru.
I'm the guru. No, no. I'm your host, Althea Finch. I'm the creator of the pain-free method, how to tune in to you, how to be pain-free by tuning into you. And you can find out more about that at painfreedom.co.uk. And on today's podcast, we have the wonderful Abi Roberts, who's just a wonderful lady. I nearly met her last year at Hope, Sussex, a fantastic place. If you haven't gone there already, do look up Hope, Sussex. She didn't turn up, and Abby knows all about this, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about what happened there,
Mm.
which I'm sure is going to help other people. And yeah, so Abby is a funny girl, and you may know her already and follow her already, and she's written a most amazing book. So, Abby, can you tell us about yourself before we get into the book? I mean, who are you? What makes up Abby?
What makes a baby? Thanks so much, Althea, for having me on. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. So I can't see all the names because I should really have my glasses on. But I'm one of these people that I'm okay with glasses as long as things are far away. Right. Groznia? Is it Groznia? Hello, Groznia. Rose, Steve, Lucy. That's all I can see at the moment. Hello. Well, I'm Abi Roberts. And some people may know me, some people may not. The last 5 years, I've sort of had a very weird journey, haven't we all? I was a stand-up for 10, 15 years, and was pretty successful. So playing all the clubs, I did 5 Edinburgh shows, hour shows. And the last one was particularly successful, called Anglichanka, which is about my time studying in Russia. I speak Russian, so it was about how I came to learn Russian, live in Russia, study, basically know quite a lot about Russia, Russian history, the people, the literature, the music, because I was studying at the Moscow Conservatoire. But we'll get back to that bit. We'll get back to that section of my life. And where was I going with this? I suddenly just went. Oh, I went on a reverie, and I suddenly realised I was in front of people on a screen. Whereas, okay, so so my husband, so I got into stand-up comedy quite late on. So I was going to be the trajectory was being a sort of opera singer. Was going to be an opera singer, 17, 18, and then I took a weird, again in the book, which is called Hot Banana, and again we'll get back to that. Was my journey was going to be music, so classical music. And then much later on, I got into stand-up comedy. And then and I met my husband, my late husband, Terry, who became my manager as well. He'd run 2 comedy clubs. So we're talking sort of 2010, 2011, that kind of time. And he ran 2 comedy clubs in London. He had done. Then that was in the 90s. I didn't know any of this. And it was really weird. So it was like a sort of serendipity that we met. And then I got into doing stand-up, which is like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Anyone that knows about the stand-up journey, you don't just go into, oh, I'm in a theatre of 200 people. You've got to start really, really small, which is really good for accuracy with jokes and punchlines and stuff like that. And then we toured around. So Terry, my husband, drove me around. We drove to clubs. And then afterwards, so it was like became a full-on job. Oh, that was it, the Edinburgh, yeah. That's what I remember about Russia, my Edinburgh show, Anglichanka. That's why I got into the Russian bit. So that was my last show in 2017 in Edinburgh. And then 2018, end of 2017, my husband was diagnosed with lung cancer. And that's a chapter in the book where I use am I allowed to swear on this?
Go for it.
I use the word cunt an awful lot about the medical
Okay.
profession because they are demons. And it took me so basically my husband then died at the end of 2018. So imagine we'd had all this wonderful journey of stand-up, hard work, real graft, like, oh, I don't want to do this gig. You're doing this gig because then if you do this gig, then you'll be able to play 20 minutes in a bigger club, blah, blah. So they don't call it the circuit for nothing. You're like this. You're like a hamster on a wheel. So really, he was great, Terry, for me, because he knew that if I put hard work in, I'm a bit of a, which I mentioned in the book as well, I'm a bit of a sort of like, oh, I'll fly by the seat of my pants. I'm sure it'll all be fine. I'll just get away with it because I've got crazy hair and
Mm.
I'm verbose. I'm able to kind of get through stuff, and then people go, oh, well, she's got crazy hair. She's quite interesting. But Terry was like, no, you've got to have discipline as well alongside it. You can't just rely on the kind of Celtic charm, and the hope that it'll arrive. The inspiration will be, will somehow be there. So that's been a real. When you asked who's Abi, that's been a real meeting of relying on luck, charm, sort of improvisational skills, which I have, which obviously you can still utilize, meets hard work and discipline. And Terry, my darling Terry, who died November 2018, really sort of, it sounds weird because I was I was 40 when I married him. It was like really instilled something in me. Really, to this day, even though he's not physically around, I still talk to him. I still have those moments, like even like this morning when he went, right, come on, you've got your talk with Althea. You've got people that are going to be watching you, listening to you. Have respect for yourself and for the time that other people are giving you as well. And a lot of, by the way, comedians don't do that. They think, well, it's just people in the audience. They've just paid some money to come and see me. I mean, crazy. So sort of going a bit further forward with Abi, with me, 2018, he died, Terry. And then beginning of 2020, my mother, who'd been very ill with a lung condition, all about the lungs, very strange. She had an interstitial lung disease, so progressive disease. She died January 2020. God bless her. And then we know what happened because sorry, yeah,
Lungs are about sorry, lungs are about grief. Just bring my medical bit in, or natural medical thing, I should say.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Grief and all, and of course, because I use my lungs to speak, to do stand up, to sing,
Mm,
because I
mm,
still sing. I trained as a singer. So I mean, I never lost. You can probably
mm.
hear in my
Beautiful.
speaking
Really.
voice that if
Well,
I do this, it's only 10:15 in the morning, but it's still here because it's like bellows.
fantastic.
It's like you train. It's like an athlete. This bit. It's like once you've trained and you keep going. I mean, obviously, I think you have to have the physiognomy to do it, but it never leaves you. I mean, God, and I've
Yeah.
smoked and I've done drugs, and that's all in the book as well. And you, but it never if you take you kind of know when your voice is a little bit tired. Maybe you want to leave it, give it 24 hours, have a little sip of, water or honey and lemon or salt gargle. I do a lot. I believe in the very much in the salt, the Celtic salt thing. And then to take care of your voice because it's like it's probably the most important thing that you've got. And boy, have we found that out in 2020. So my
Yeah.
mum died.
But so to say about the singing bit, sorry
Yeah,
to interrupt on that.
yeah,
That's a big moment. But I was trying to look up because you said that in your bio you said singing is your first love, and I would find it really difficult to find. I could find lots of skits about with you singing with different,
yes.
with Ramesh and all sorts of wonderful people, but you're
Oh
singing
yeah, yeah,
and it's
and
like
Brenda.
a skit.
Well, now that's a very good point, Althea. Thank you. Gosh, you've this is good because it's I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. My dad, um, my biological dad was a session guitar at Chris Roberts, and he and my mom, they split up when I was 10. I mean, it was very traumatic, and I remember being in assembly. In fact, this isn't in the book because the book's a series of essays, which we'll get back to the structure of the book and how it's quite different to an autobiography, which is like every single detail, and literally from beginning and I'm 55. I don't think I'm old enough to do it's literally like maybe give it another 20 years or so, God willing. But my dad My mum split up. I was a bit traumatized. I was very traumatized. And in assembly, I remember, no, it wasn't. It was in a musical production. I think it was Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat at primary school. And I remember my parents sitting together, knowing that they were getting divorced. They were separated. And this I can feel my palms sweating now. You know, this feeling of like nausea, and you're sort of, oh god, and you feel claustrophobic and sort of, oh, I just want to get away, because nobody else knew except me and my sister. So it was like they were, and seeing them together made me feel sick and claustrophobic, which has stayed with me, actually, claustrophobia, interestingly. Although I'm much better at I have a talk to myself. I go, come on, it's just a lift. Get in. What's the worst that I mean, I've got a lot stronger, especially since 2020. We'll get back to that, which is, going, Abs, the worst thing that has happened to you has happened. You lost your husband. You found your husband on your bedroom floor, deceased, and then your mother's died, and then the world, you've had, the world, you've the government, the state, the powers that be are trampling you underfoot. So you've got the Stalinist boot on your head. So I think you can cope with a lift. I think you're going to be okay, because there's a thing that goes, ring this, ring, hello, and also, fear is, I think, mostly about things that you think are going to happen, but actually probably won't.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
most fears
and
that we have.
they're rooted, when we have emotional triggers like that, they're often from childhood, actually,
Yeah.
and it's based on the autonomic nervous system, or your emotions or memories. So
Yes.
that when it comes up in the adult world, in the adult mind,
Mm.
it's real. Your heart might be going. As you said, you got sweaty palms and things, but it's sort of often linked back to stories that. As an adult, it's irrational, but it's coming from a real event, or
Real.
memory,
Yeah.
or something.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
mhm.
And that idea that the little child in you is saying, but it is going to happen, because your parents did get divorced, or that
Mm,
did happen. But I suppose at some point in life, I mean, actually, I'll read a bit from the book where I
go for
talk
it.
about, in fact, shall I do it now? Because then
Yeah, do it.
you can hear, my so the book's, by the way, is called Hot Banana. Everyone, I don't know if you can see the cover, designed by my friend Martin Baker. Can you see that clearly?
Brilliant.
It's basically
You want to put it right
it's a
close to the camera.
yeah, close the
Put it right
camera.
close.
Yeah,
That's
can
it.
you see that?
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's cool.
It's You can see the hot. It's a banana, everyone, with whipped cream and a Russian flag and a
Ooh.
union flag, and also a holiday umbrella. And then on the back, let me just show you the back. That is, and there's a cross there, and that's actually part of a story, which is, so all the tracks are written like a CD. That's how I wanted it on the back. And then the cross relates to me being told to take my cross off when I was arrested in 2023 and put in a cell for 17 hours. Everyone's going, who is this? Who is this guest, this
Criminal.
crazy guest that you've got? I was doing
Oh
my
my gosh.
duty for the
Mm,
people. So let
yeah.
me just read you this because it relates to fear. It relates to 2020 and what happened with the disgraceful, I call it the moral vacuum, when everyone lost their shit, literally. Okay, so I wrote this in Spiked magazine. Spiked, by the way, who didn't really say boo to a goose about anything in the lockdown. Well, particularly the vaccines. They remained completely kind of like, we don't talk about that. But I wrote a couple of things for them because I was getting into my writing. But that, I'd written a few articles a few years back in my youth. But then I was like, oh, actually, and my mum was a writer, by the way. My dear late
Wow.
mum was a
Oh.
great writer. So thanks to her as
Mm,
well for all this.
mm.
Okay, this is what I wrote in December 2020 about about Terry, about the what was happening with the fear mongering and also my husband's death. We take significant risks every day. We drive lethal metal boxes at 90 miles an hour on long, narrow stretches of tarmac with other lethal metal boxes coming in the opposite direction. We swim in deep oceans full of creatures that could eat us whole. We fly in long cylindrical tubes 35,000 feet above the ground. We eat food that could kill us if we choke on it, and we ski down near vertical slopes. But perhaps the greatest risk we face is that we are the only living creature on the planet who willingly loves another completely, knowing that one day they will die. It's 2 years since my husband Terence left this world. He had late-stage lung cancer. It was still unexpected. I came home to find him. We were like Darby and Joan, or Paul and Linda, without the vegetarian sausages. We were never apart. I love him with every sinew of my body. My world collapsed in on me like a concrete building. I paced around our home for months, asking aloud, "Where are you?" During his year of treatment, I looked into his eyes and reassured him, cuddled him, smoothed his soft silver head, and kissed his brow every day. To not be able to do this now would be unthinkable, and yet people have been prevented from touching those they love who are sick or dying. Holding those we love close and congregating to celebrate their lives is as fundamental as a coronavirus to who we are as a species. We rely on these transcendent moments in our lives. These rituals are part of us. They are not a government edict on a laminate card with a rainbow unicorn on it. Regardless of graphs, slogans, and statistics, there is a philosophical imperative to rediscover the transcendence of our humanity. This is what gives our lives ultimate meaning. The love, beauty, and goodness of human existence cannot be halted for one virus.
There we go.
And that's what I wrote in
Oh,
2020.
it was such a time, wasn't it? And just
And the bits about the fear,
reality.
we do stuff every day, which risks
Mm.
life and limb. You know, being alive, isn't it? Is about doing things where we go, well, it could go terribly wrong, but that's living, isn't it? It's giving your life
Yeah.
meaning. But that was actually reading that's weird because I'm like, oh, corona, because I know some people watching will be like, coronavirus, do viruses even exist? What is, and actually what's interesting, you know, is that I've chosen, and people know this about me, to not to focus on that part, the existence of viruses, the germ terrain theory. My thing since 2020 has always been about the moral side of it. The being human is about touch and smell and stroking someone's head and holding their hand and being flawed. It's not, if you get into the statistics, then you're moving away from all that. In my opinion, you're moving away from all that. What's important?
Absolutely. I think that was for me, that was exactly that hotspot moment. I thought that is the worst bit about this. You got these, my mum died in 2019,
Yeah.
and we had her funeral on the 19th. Then, of course, we were locked up for and 23 of March, was it March? And I was so glad of that. You know, we had a semi-normal funeral, and I thought that was the hotspot moment of the how dare they, what cruelty, how much cruelty can you put on people that leaving old biddies who don't know where they are anyway,
Yes.
and you won't let them go and hold their hand of a loved one,
Yeah.
or left isolated die in a room. I mean,
Yes.
that just wrenched my heart. I thought that's what it meant to me. The beginning, that the middle of the whole story was that for me, and I
Yes.
thought that the cruelty was horrendous.
And then
And
saying goodbye on an iPad, which is interestingly, isn't it? What because the digital ID, you know, all the sort of the technology taking over is really, to me, that this is a key point of where we are now. And actually, what started in 2020 is I think it's all about analog versus digital, because our souls are God given. I mean, I don't know how many people in the chat are are believers, are Christians. I am a Christian. I was baptized at Russian Orthodox by a
Oh,
famous Russian Orthodox priest. He's in the book as well, Father Alexander Men. He was actually murdered in 1990, September
wow.
1990. They never found his killers. He was, and he's been, I think he's going to be made a saint at some stage. But so I'm a Christian, and and the churches, by the way, in 2020 were horrendous. They closed
Weren't
their
they
doors.
just? I know.
They they were like, no, we don't want. And I was like, and I remember thinking, hang on a minute, Jesus Christ, when he saw a leper, he didn't run the other way, did he? That's not what Christ teaches us.
That was shocking, wasn't it? And I thought of all the people in the community, the priest
Yes,
should have been there, like
yes,
Lady Diana, like Jesus. And
yeah. Lady Diana's in the book, by the way. She's
oh,
there's a, well,
isn't there?
there's a chapter called "Whatever Love Means." I actually do. Lady Diana is my Anyway, let me just do her voice. There were three of us in this marriage, so it's a bit crowded. I loved him. I adored him. I see everyone's very impressed with that.
Very
But,
impressive, Abby.
it's Grosjean is
Good.
laughing. Thanks very much. Everyone's a bit slow this morning. But when you do it,
Wrap us
it's
up,
interesting
please.
because it's quite high up, Princess Diana. And when she spoke, it was very, very sort of breathy and very sexy, actually. I think a lot of men do quite like it. But what's weird is you do this and it's quite high up. And actually, but if you go down a few, down and down and down into my register, my lower register, I turn into Margaret Thatcher. I gave from Princess Diana up here, and then down, 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 down to Mr. Speaker.
I thought you were going to say
You
Camilla then.
turn if you want to. This lady's not for turning. And
Yeah.
everyone goes, blimey, it's as if she's in the room. It's incredible.
Excellent.
Um,
Oh,
so
and yeah, so and the bigger picture of things, I felt it was all about God and the devil. It's all about good and
yeah,
evil, and there it was. And if that's true, I mean, one of the first things they cut off at the stake was the church community. And
yeah,
I used to listen, and
horrendous.
I do listen a lot to UK Column. I don't know if you know UK Column.
I know them
What
very well. I'm speaking. I think I've got something coming up with them at soon. Yeah,
wonderful group of people. If anybody doesn't know
very.
UK Column, do look them up. A really honest, straightforward, hardworking
Charles Mallet. He's a
Charles
thinking woman's
Mallet.
crumpet. He won't mind me saying that, by the way. Hello, I'm Charles Mallet, and I was an
Are you trying
officer
to
in
put,
the army, don't you know? Well, Charles.
are you trying to put the message out there?
No, he's a very happily married man. He's
Oh,
lovely. No, he's so kind, and he's been very kind to me.
oh,
Oh, yeah, over the last few years. Yeah, very
what
nice.
wonderful group of people. They're incredible researchers and standing up for the people, researching for the people. Excellent
Mm.
group of people.
Yes,
UK Column with Charles Mallet in there.
yes.
And oh, I've totally lost the track now. um, UK. Why did I mention UK Column?
Oh yeah,
Right,
UK Column,
it's gone, Abby.
and what were we talking about? Oh yeah, about the church. Was it about the church and
Yeah. Oh,
about?
yeah. Yeah, and UK Column, because there's wonderful researchers. They did the whole program all about where was the money going, and to the church. They were fed untold amounts of money, and they showed you all the links and who was being paid, and no wonder they shut up and did what they were told. They poured bucket loads of money straight away to the church.
Yeah,
And then it was all linked to the military, wasn't it? All that, and anyway, you'll find all this sort of thing at UK Column. Everybody, I'm not a
yeah.
researcher, but I listen to people who do know what they're talking about.
Yes,
Um,
it
that
was a proper military operation, psychological
Yeah,
psyop operation, and I know what I was saying related to the 2020 the psyop is that we in there's nothing more serious I think than that's what's happening at the moment, which of course was what 2020 was about, leading up to, was about replacing the analog, which is the human soul. If you're a believer, as I am, the God, the divine spark in us, replacing it with something digital. And you cannot do that. It's impossible. You cannot change human beings. I mean, we've seen it with the trans activist loons trying to change biology. Well, I'm a girl, but now I'm definitely a boy because it's like a total misunderstanding of being human, biological sex, God, our place in the universe.
I don't think they can ever win because if since God is the creator, I feel like, well, in this world, on Earth, there is always polarity, and there's always that free will choosing, isn't it? Choosing the light, choosing the dark.
Yes,
So I think maybe it's just the way that it is. It's just polarity, and it's for us to see things and choose.
yes,
But I don't think they can ever win because God created them anyway. So it's I feel like
yes.
it's like a spoilt brat, like a toddler, with chucking the toys out the pram, kicking,
Full brat.
kicking.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting. I say another thing as well that I touch on in the book is that I think one of the reasons why it came as now I've been very angry the last 5 years because I mean I didn't take the vaccines. I know people that did, and it's funny because well not funny, it's actually tragic and horrendous and a crime. But I do know people that found it quite amusing to laugh at people who'd been hoodwinked by the powers that be, by the state, which I find reprehensible. I mean, I will forgive those people at some stage, but the idea, it's that old adage of be careful that you don't become that which you hate. So if you're looking, like
Mm.
Nietzsche said, that you're staring into the abyss, and be careful that when you're staring into the abyss, that you don't become the monster that's staring back at you. And I saw a lot of that, a lot of that. Was sort of like was a bit smug, like, oh yeah, God, who would fall for that? It's crazy, blah blah. And then you look back and you think, hang on a minute. In history, we've seen that under Stalin or Hitler or Mao, that people were very everyone is flawed. Everyone should be given. Though I'm not I'm not including politics. I'm careful to kind of separate out politicians, leaders of countries, medics, and people high up in the media, because I think I try and separate that out because they were being paid to do the propaganda and would have had access to a lot of stuff that some, say your next door neighbor, Mrs. Bloggins down the road, she's watching the TV, in the corner of her room, whatever, watching TV. She'd watched it all her life, and then she's thinking, "Oh my goodness, there's what's this? Oh my God, there's a deadly virus!" And oh no, I must. And and then the vaccines. I have nothing but love for those people, and because I think every day, there but for the grace of God go I. There but for the grace of God. Could have been me. I mean, I'm a widow. I'm living on my own. I was so scared the NHS was going to inject me. I put something up against the door because I thought they're coming for me. It was like the Pointless, that there's a old TV show where it comes down the do do do
Yeah.
do do, and it got to 50, and I turned 50 in 2020, June 2020, and I was like, and then obviously 51 when the jab started coming into end of 2020 into 2021, and I was genuinely
Mm.
fucking terrified. I thought they're going to come. They know where I live, so they're going to come for me. Oh
Well,
my God! So
they were
let's
sending
not forget that.
yeah, and they were sending it was all around us, all of us, all the time,
Constant,
24/7.
constant
And straight to your phone, come and get your jab, come and get your jab,
jab.
and
Yeah.
all
Well,
this.
they stopped contacting me because I was I made myself quite made myself trouble. But don't forget as well that when people were on their own in 2020, sort of in that time, that it was very much like a regime, like a Stalin, like a living with the Stasi, or East Germany, or Soviet Russia, or Mao. I mean, I use all these these examples in my book, living under in Mao's China. That you really did think, well, your neighbours are going to be seeing what you're doing. Are they going to tell somebody? That's what I mean. If you read history, you do. There are lots of echoes with these. I think under Stalin they were called whisperers. Actually, they had an official term. So a whisperer was your next door neighbor or somebody who kind of you work with, who would then tell the authorities that you hadn't
Yeah.
been doing something correct, like wearing a mask, like
Coming.
doing all that sort of stuff. So it very much
Yeah.
is kind of Stalinist. It's sort of what would you call it? Yes, authoritarian, tyrannical, anti-human, anti-individual stuff. You know, and I think it
It
surprised
was
people
coming.
because we hadn't really had that here in the UK. I think people were like, yeah, we're never going to become like Mao's. You know, we're never going to. It's never going to be like living under a regime like that, where the police arrest people for walking around freely in the park or wearing masks. And it did. And I think that's what surprised a lot of people, because they were smugly going, oh, the West, it's so marvelous. Oh, to be free. We've got freedom of speech. We've got this. We've got elections. We've got, you know, we would never have a government like Stalin or Beria, his chief of police. We would never have, people basically turning up to our work or arresting us for something we've put on social media. That's not going to happen in the West, because we're the glorious West. We've had the Enlightenment, you know, and that is the lesson, I think, of the last 5 years is stay vigilant, because any civilization, anything that you become comfortable with can be gone like that. Particularly if you dismiss all history, you think it's all nonsense, it's all fake. No, that never happened. Well, it did. And ideology like that is here with us. And that's what we need to defeat.
There it is. And
there it is. Thank you very much for coming to my talk on 20th century authoritarian regimes, everyone.
yeah.
You're more than welcome.
You're speaking truth. And I want to come back to Abi, and I just want to say, if anyone wants to ask direct questions to Abi, just raise your hand and I can unmute you. Abi, so Russia, what's all the Russia and
what's all the Russia about? Well, sorry, I must be serious. I know it's terrible. I have a propensity sometimes to go, yeah, about a serious, like Russia. Yes, Abs, you speak Russian. It's almost like I think part of me was a bit like, oh no, I don't want to show off too much. That I speak fluent Russian. So,
well, I was very interested when I saw that in your bio, because my son is practically Russian.
Really?
He's sings songs. He's learning at the moment. He's learning to speak, and he's got the great Russian flag. I mean, he's Russian. He's got the hat. He's got the
the shapka.
Yeah,
the furry hat, the shapka. That's amazing. Well,
just to say that you got into Russian and all this and other things, but anyway, you're Russian, and you ordered this enormous 6-foot pole with the flag. And that was the day that the Ukraine war was announced. I was like, Adam, don't go out today with this hat.
Yes, don't go out today. And people pouring bloody vodka down the sink to be anti-Russian. No. That vodka, by the way, is made in Latvia. You stupid idiots! Like, we're going to be anti-Russian. Oh, let's pour the vodka down the sink and let's ban Tchaikovsky. They were taking Tchaikovsky off concert. Listen, that to me just shows the utter stupidity of people when they're in herds. When they're not thinking, hang on a minute, is this actually a stupid thing to do? Yes, it is stupid. So my Russian journey started, and there is a lot. There's again, people that have just joined. My book, Hot Banana, is out at the moment. You can get it, by the way, in Lulu at lulu.com. Lulu, you make me want to shout. That kind of Lulu in the shop. And you can get it on Kindle and Apple Books as well. There is a chapter called Вечная память, in Russian is eternal memory, and that's about me being baptized by Father Alexander Men in 1990 when I was in Moscow. So my Russian journey started. My mum spoke Russian, was a Russian speaker, and then she met my stepdad, and he was a fluent Russian speaker, not Russian. He worked with artist liaison stuff. I mean, he's no longer with us, so I can say this. He was probably MI6 I mean, almost undoubtedly. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, put it that way, that if he was MI6. But he used to go. He went to Moscow with Margaret Thatcher and God, I think who else did he go with? Was a few other people. So he was very, very, I mean, properly excellent Russian speaker. I think learned it in the army, and as a lot of people did, by the way, in that sort of era, you know, there's sort of Cold War panic. It's like we got to learn Russian because then you're going to understand that the Russians are going to bomb us and they're our enemy. All that kind of nonsense, and then then I at school. Then I was thinking, I heard them speaking. My stepdad and somebody, I was like, "Oh, that sounds really great. Oh, I like that. You know, that kind of in the throat. When the Russians speak, they speak like this. It's a lovely, really, really sort of guttural sound. Очень хорошо, which means very good in Russian. Доброе утро, good morning. It's like this, but also very lyrical as well. When you know, there's lots of so it's very musical. Hence, a lot of the great operas. Russian operas and Russian singers. And so I heard it. I thought I really want to learn it. Then I learned. So I did O level, A level, then a degree at Swansea University. It wasn't Oxbridge. I fucked my A levels up. I was gonna. They did. Cambridge was on the cards, but as I said before, I'm a bit of a kamikaze. I was a kamikaze pilot. Not so much anymore, actually, as I'm getting older. The kamikaze bit has kind of has eased because I couldn't have written this as a kamikaze pilot. I would have said to people, but actually, people might find this interesting because we were talking about putting obstacles in your way. You know, saying announcing you're going to do something like write a book. And then going, I'm writing a book, everyone, which I started on Substack. I started writing this book on Substack. And I don't know if any people are on Substack. Abby Daily is my platform. And I've written articles since 2022 was when I started Substack. But you know, I was writing earlier this year, January, and people were like, oh, this is really good. We want to hear more about your life. So I was thinking, okay, wrote another essay, another article. And then said, you know, went, oh, after 3 or 4, I went, do you know what? Yes, I'm writing a book, don't you know? and then the gradually the sweat, the panic, oh God, I can't be one of those people that says they're writing. That's a cliche. Oh, no, my mother would never forgive me if I'd announced it and then I never did it. To me, that's sort of. But I associated that person. I associated that with this person who would say things and then not do them. And I think there's still an element of me that's like that, Althea, because I didn't turn up to Hope to that gig because it's been very emotionally strange the last 5 years without Terry.
It was is that what it was all based on? Because you know, I was feeling for you because she was saying that you know, obviously you're used to stand up, but something different was going on. Was that what it was all about then? No,
I can't remember which time it was because I've bailed out of a few, not just Hope.
Yeah.
This is in the a little bit as well, being because I've become this is definitely not blowing my own trumpet, but I have a bit of a jazz trumpet for a Wednesday. I've become better known since 2020 in the last 5 years, and I know this is going to sound very faux, kind of like I just don't like the limelight, don't like the attention, but genuinely, I sometimes feel very hemmed in by if people say they're going to come to a gig and maybe they're a bit of a possibly a stalker or something. I get a bit panicky because Terry's not there to go, because Terry was a Geordie, by the way. He was from Newcastle, so any fucking trouble, he'd be like, you fucking come near my wife. But he didn't speak, he didn't say anything like that. I'll fucking break your both your fucking legs, you fucking prick. I mean, Terry was hard. He was with the Royal Green Jackets, so he was in the Territorial Army. He was, he was hard. He was, any trouble, he would go to a pub and he'd look round. I mean, he went to Northern Ireland as part of his training, so that gives you an idea. Any pub we used to go to, he would look for where the exits were, and size up people who were in the in the bar. He said,
Wow.
because that's your natural. He said your inclination. He said my natural thing is to protect you. So if anything happens,
Wow.
I'm on it. So it's just really. I think it's just being. Oh, well, without sounding like a damsel in distress, being a woman, so on my own, I'm going to a thing and I'm better known than I was. And then there's all the thing of, just all the stuff that's going on that everyone's suffering from. Everyone's going through it.
Yeah, but you lost your darling, isn't it? And your
My darling
protector.
Terry.
And then you were in the limelight. So
Yeah,
so
in the limelight without him,
central.
and also being arrested in 2023. That's in the book as well. 17 hours for saying fuck outside the I shit you not. On my
It wasn't your mother then.
It wasn't my mother. On the arrest sheet. Yeah, on the arrest sheet.
Arrest her.
Arrest her. Exactly, arrest her. She's been naughty. It actually said a reason for arrest for swearing when told not to by officers. 17 hours, ladies and gentlemen, in this great United Kingdom that is
crazy.
apparently pro free speech and also crazy. Matt Hancock was in the COVID inquiry. Matt Hancock, who has blood on his hands with the midazolam stuff and the lockdowns and the vaccines, all that, and they were arresting me, not Matt Hancock.
It was your mother, Abby. We weren't told not to by your mother.
Yeah, exactly, when told not to. Abby, I've told you not to swear. But and then that would have been a bit of a eye roll. But I was given 17 hours in a police cell in Holborn.
But what on earth? Because you were outside. It was the COVID inquiry, was it?
Inquiry, yeah, it was the first day of the COVID inquiry with just a little group of us. The yellow boards with Francis O'Neill, and there was literally 4 of us, and there was press there, and I got understandably. Well, I was raging because I thought, absolute wankers. Nearly used the C word again. I'm going to try and refrain from that. But they are CUNTSs. A line of press, or a line of press snapping at me, and I'm just thinking, but you're responsible for all this, for what's going on. You were writing, didn't say a word about. Oh, safe and effective. Yeah, definitely have these vaccines. Yeah, they're definitely they're a miracle. You've got to have, and not just one. You've got to have 2 because it's like a pair of earrings. You can't just have the one earring and be like George Michael. You got to have the 2 dangly ones. Like, imagine. I mean, it was so. But for the fact that nobody in the mainstream press or the people that were taking photos the day I was arrested, that they didn't say anything, that they were just happily just clicking away while I was going. There needs to be a trial on the scale of Nuremberg, because these were given without informed consent, and in some cases any consent. People with Down syndrome who were jabbed and had their orange juice tampered with. That was a story I still feel sick hearing about it. A young guy that in the care home he was in, Down syndrome. This has come out quite recently, by the way. They put sedative in his orange juice to inject him with the COVID vaccine.
That's illegal.
So I was saying all that in 2023 for people like that man, and there are other examples, disgusting, dreadful examples that actually wouldn't look out of place in Nuremberg, in that let's test the handicapped, let's just test them. It doesn't matter because they're just we'll just use them as guinea pigs. There's real echoes of horrific stuff. That wasn't just done in 1930s Germany. Obviously it was done under other regimes. Other regimes are available.
But the thing is,
that's why I was angry. I was looking back, I was like absolutely livid. And then they were like, and then I said, "Are you joking?" And then they went,
"Totally with you." But I think that you were famous you are famous, and I think people who were shiny brights and shouting out about it, and they were at the front of the line like yourself. They and then of course you had that row of press there, so I can see why they arrested you, because that would have been on the mainstream news, and lots of other people like yourself who are in the limelight. And even at the big events, the big protests, they arrested people who were doing the speaking, or they took all the gear away. And
In fact,
So,
it wasn't on the mainstream news. It wasn't covered at all.
oh,
The only
wow.
place it was, I know, unbelievable. The only place it was covered was because I stood behind Tom Harwood on GB News, because I'd been on GB News for 8 months until I started getting really obsessed about the vaccine and just mentioned the vaccines every opportunity I could. I stood behind Tom Harwood. He was giving doing a broadcast to studio, and I thought I grabbed a yellow card with something about the vaccines on it, stood behind him in my baseball cap. You can see this footage on the internet somewhere. And
Lovely.
I'm going, stop lying to the British public, Tom. And then Francis sidles in next to me. It's like a comedy sketch. Honestly, it's hilarious. Francis is like this, sidling in, and then I think the
Because
only
you were
other
on
place that
because you were on the GB News for how many months? Have
8 months. Yeah,
8 months for a
8 months.
regular. Did you have your own spot? I'm sorry, I didn't.
I was a regular on a few shows. With sort of like rotating shows, pretty much every week actually, or sometimes a couple of
Mm,
times a week. And then I was unceremoniously, well, not invited back when John Gaunt called me said to Neil Oliver, this is live on air, Neil, control her. She's a big foul-mouthed yob. And because
lovely.
I was talking about, he wanted the NHS, he wanted NHS staff to have mandatory vaccines. This man, John Gaunt, and by the way, he approved of children getting the vaccine. So as you can understand, I was like, what? And
Yeah.
then you can see like this kind of weird. And then he says to Neil Oliver, control her. She's a big foul-mouthed yob. I mean, it's true that he's not wrong, but given the context that I'm saying, what are you talking about? How can you
Yeah.
defend that? And then Neil
Yeah.
Oliver just went, because he's a lyrical whisperer. People, I don't know if you know Neil Oliver. He's very softly spoken. He does stuff. He does monologues about
Yeah, I met him, yeah.
global tyranny, as if they're song lyrics. And he's speaking. He didn't really say "boo to a goose," Neil Oliver, because I don't know. I think there's some. Yeah, it's just not his thing. I mean, I personally, if it had been me, would have gone, John, that's unacceptable. Shut the fuck up and sit down. But some people are. Not everyone's like that.
Yeah, and it does. When you see bad things happening, especially when it's to children or old people, vulnerable, it
Oh,
just gets you go, doesn't it? I mean, I was the
yeah,
same. I was like you, but I couldn't hold it in. I couldn't. I didn't care about if people couldn't hear it. It's like it's the truth. What's the matter with you?
yes, yeah.
Anyway, but coming back to you, Abby, about well, what about the religious side? Have you always been a Christian? Has it always been something important?
No, I was an atheist for 20 years. And then I literally from when I say 20 years, I mean from birth um, until I went to Moscow. I was an
Ah,
atheist, and then I decided there and then to be baptized by Father Alexander into the
wow.
Orthodox Church, and I was baptized by him on Easter Day. There's a whole big, as you can see on the back, that's the track list. I don't know if you can
Mm.
see Вечная память is somewhere down
I can
there.
read it if I wanted to.
That's true. Yes,
I
eternal
trust
memory, whatever's
I trust you.
in brackets. So baptized by him in a little church just outside Moscow. And yes, Roger. So I'm Russian Orthodox, and when I was in the police cell, I prayed, and I mean I speak about on my podcast Abby Daily on Substack. I do talk a lot about faith, a lot about doubt, a lot about struggles when you're thinking, why are you? What's happening? And then I go and sit in church. I go and sit in, church near me, or if I'm walking past a church, and sit down and I talk to Christ. To have a few, real quiet time where I block everything out. If there's anything tries to get in, like, have you called that person? Have you emailed that? I go, shh. I'm not in that world. I'm not in this world at the moment. I'm talking to him. So shush. And then after about 20 minutes, I float out, and it's like, oh, this is some crazy people on the street. But it is very restorative. Very in the morning, like this morning, said a prayer. I'll say one this evening. I pray for the Abbey Daily family. Because prayer is commune. It is I know there are doubters. I know there are people that might say, and by the way, I am a very much a newbie when it comes to the Bible and quoting things and whatever. I mean, I'm not. I mean, It's shameful actually that I'm, so that needs a lot of work. But I do the work in other ways, because being a Christian is every day. Looking around you and saying, does that person looks like they need help? Like, I mean, could be complete, stranger in a cafe who is having trouble, whatever, or moving or walking across the road or anything like that. It's all there. It all makes makes your time on this the time on this planet a lot more meaningful
Yeah,
if you
doesn't it just?
notice. Remember you were saying before we came on air about your experience, and look for the signs. God will. It's all there. It's just it's taking the time to go. Oh, yes, I've right. It's kind of noticing stuff, and so much often we go through life not it's in a terrible rush, full of everything, whatever, and then you just have to be still and be calm
Mm.
as much as possible in this crazy time, and then you'll start seeing little signs. I promise you it'll happen, but only if you block out all the other things.
It is. It's always there, isn't it? God is always there, and
Yeah.
if you doubt it, then, as you say, be still, be still, and
Yes.
he's always your protector. Ask and it's given if you need guidance. Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, still
Um,
small voice of calm. Do you remember that hymn? Oh, still small
oh
voice
yeah,
of calm.
yeah. That
That's a
rings a bell.
wonderful,
Yeah.
like a hymn. I think at school I remember we used to sing, and I remember that thinking that's beautiful. Still small
Mm,
voice of calm, which is just the little voice that you only hear when there's no other noise around you. And we can all do that sitting in a garden. Well, mind you, in London, quite difficult, but you can find a place that's
it's
pretty
always there,
much, yeah. And
and
even if it's not, you
mm,
have to train yourself, I think, a little bit to block it out,
that's right.
block the stuff out.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so when you had to take a, why did they ask you to take a, when you were arrested? Why that was that they asked you to take the cross off? I mean, that's
Yes.
funny, isn't it? Like,
Um,
that's
yeah, because well, this was their rationale. I think is because they think because my cross. I don't know if you can see it here. Let me just there it is. There, little cross there is that was it. Is it's got a sharp end. I mean, I don't know what they thought I was going to do with it, but I mean, it is crazy because I do know. I'm not sure they would. Yeah, I'd put it this way. I don't think they're defending Christianity at the moment. These people, the powers that be, including the police and everything. I don't think that's their. I don't think they don't understand. They don't understand the importance. No, we've lost connection with the transcendent, with truth, goodness, beauty, all the things which make you. I used to think make our culture, Western, if for want of a better word, civilization, so precious. We've lost touch with all that. We're out. We've drifted
humanity.
out to sea, and we need to get
Yes.
back.
Yes, I mean, I was an atheist for many years, and I kind of believed, I thought kind of felt, believed in God, but then I found God, as I said, off air, but
Yeah,
recently,
yeah,
and I know categorically, I have no doubt now, and um, that and all through the COVID thing, it's like, on all these years when I was an atheist, it was always like, I'd be an atheist. I don't, you just go to worms and dust. That's all it is.
mm,
And I thought, yeah, 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 that's I'm a practical girl. That's what I think too. And I
yes,
think they have like when I was at school, we used to sing hymns every assembly, and we'd all have a Bible and a hymn book, all of it, everybody did.
yeah.
And it doesn't seem to happen. I say to my kids, "Do you sing at school?" No, there's not even an assembly. There's no
No,
assembly even. There's no joy.
if I was in charge of the country, which is very highly unlikely, I would bring back Christian assemblies in every single school across the land,
Mm,
singing prayer, because there needs because it's about cohesion. It's about and the message and Christ's message, which is don't run away from someone who's sick and dying. Run towards them. Don't do it through a window pane on an iPad. That's the
Right.
complete inversion
Yeah.
of truth, goodness, and beauty.
That's it. And one of the messages from God that I got
Mm,
was highlighted was that um, you're not the one that heals each other. That that's God's work, but we're here to help each other, to share our skills, to share our love, to share our abilities, and to just make it a nicer place for each other here, and just put an arm around each other when we need it, and to be here for each other. And
yes.
I think maybe it's been a good thing, all this nasty stuff, because it's brought me back to God in a roundabout way. And I never thought that would happen.
I know,
Like in,
and if it's if it gives people comfort and solace and calm, even lighting a candle in a beautiful church, what's wrong with that? You know, it's like I know people go, yeah, but I mean, if atheism takes you into a dark place where it's you're just full of doubt and sort of and and arguing about the non-existence of everything, then that what kind of life is that? You know, it's because to me it's like
absolutely.
it's like someone who's allergic to parsley or doesn't like parsley, and then and every time you see them they go on about how they're allergic, how they don't like parsley. So I think we
Okay,
get it. We get your point about parsley. Before, I just wanted to very quickly, because
that's
I
please.
know this is about hot banana, but I just wanted to mention the other book that this is, by the way, this was printed at cost, so I didn't make any money from this. This was released in this was 2022, and then this was the real proper book version. We the People, Letters from Dystopia. That's Bob Moran, my friend Bob Moran's art on the front.
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he? He's wonderful.
And yeah, it's great. And that is letters from podcast listeners who wrote to me in 2022 onwards about their lockdown experiences, the vaccine injuries. These are so horrific, some of these letters. When I was compiling it, I had to sort of take some time off because I'd sort of feel dizzy with all of it, with the terrible stuff that people went through. And yeah, I mean, these, I'll just give you a brief example of one of my favorites of his is the musicians stick it to the man and then stick it. It's basically musicians, creatives became the bootlickers. Stick it in my arm, stick it to the man, and stick it in my arm.
Yeah,
So the creatives became the people that supported the state.
I know.
You know, for all they did. And there's lots of people can get this, by the way, still get this on Lulu. Again, the same platform, the same place you can get Hot Banana. You can still get this in I think paperback and hardback. So this one, I've given it to doctors. So this has been out for like a year, I think. I've given it to doctors. I've given it to basically anyone. Read it and then understand why this can never ever happen again. And it was a moral vacuum, and there will be consequences, and there has to be justice for what was done. And people that have bought it from across New Zealand, Australia, everywhere, they've also bought copies and given it to the medics and
Mhm.
politicians. Christine Anderson in the MEP, who's been
Yeah, she's
brilliant through
amazing.
all this. She's
Amazing.
got a copy. She's got a copy
Mm.
of this. And it's beautifully designed by my friend Martin, who designed Hot Banana as well. So
Mhm.
I'll just show you beautifully laid out. So that's a letter there, Claire, and then that's Bob's. Sorry, just that's Bob's cartoon. That one of his cartoons there, and then on the back is one of my favourite quotes. Coming back to God, you'll like this, Althea. I was born for this. I came into the world for this, to bear witness to the truth, and all who are on the side of the truth listen to my voice. "Truth," said Pilate. "What is that?" That's on the back of the. That's on the quote on the back of the book. So I did this. This was like my love letter, my duty to my civic duty to people. So it was like I said, it wasn't like a, oh, I'm gonna get really rich from doing a book. It was all yeah. So I'm that's the thing actually I'm probably most proud of. We the People. The Hot Banana is different because it's a memoir. It's a bit, I suppose mainstream, for want of a better word, although it still includes a lot of stuff which I think the normies, it might blow their socks off when they read it. But we the People was like a sort of, was like my giving back and saying, this is, you get it, and then you just give it to whoever can stomach it, frankly, because some people I know will be reading. I mean, I gave it to my doctor, and he said, he's going to put it on his what's it called, table in the waiting room. So okay, go on then.
Wow, excellent,
Yeah.
interesting. Abi, where do things go for you from now? And just to say that Rose says, brilliant podcast, really enjoyed it, thank you. And Grasna, she says, I like your ideas, can truly relate to your beliefs. Thank you both. Where can I buy the book? How can I connect with Lulu?
Oh, Grasna, thank you very much. You can get the book. It's lulu.com. So LULU. Have you got a pen there? I can see Grasna. Thank you. Wearing a lovely shade of very bright and cheerful yellow, unlike my Lynyrd Skynyrd, my rock and roll, although it's got Free Bird on it. People can see that. Okay, so you can go to lulu.lulu, as in the singer.com/shop, and then you go to the shop bit of Lulu, and then just type in Abi Roberts, ABI Roberts, and then Hot Banana, and We the People. Actually, Hot Banana will come up, and then you'll see underneath it probably other books by this author include We the People. So, and you can also get it for for Kindle on Amazon and Apple Books, and do it in a similar way where you just go Hot Banana, Abi Roberts, Hot Banana on on those platforms, and you can follow. I don't know if your people are Twitterers. I'm Abi R Comedian on Twitter. I mean, I hate Twitter. It's just I sometimes feel it's my duty sometimes just to go on there and just tell people, give people what's for. But then I just take days off, and I think, oh dear. And Substack, very important. Abi Daily is what led to We the People. So you can go to that. It's Abi, I think it's abiroberts.substack. It's one of those weird addresses. But if you look for Abi Daily on ABIDALY on Substack, you'll find it. It'll pop up. It's me, 4 photographs of me with a huge red pill with Abi Daily put across it. So I think that's pretty much where I've got a YouTube channel I don't use nearly enough as much as I should, but that may change soon.
Thank you. I mean, I'll put all the links when this goes out onto
Lucy, thank you. I love your courage and humor. Thank you, Lucy. Where's Lucy?
Yeah, Lucy's there. Yeah,
Lucy's there. Hi.
With us.
Lucy's with us. Thank you so much, Lucy. Yes. Well, I think we're all courageous. It's just I don't know. I sometimes think being a widow, going through what I did with Terry, and then losing my mum, and then the 2020 thing. I think losing Terry sort of sounds strange. Gave me a fire in my belly, where I thought I don't want to let him down. I want to do stuff that'll make him proud and make it all worth it. I think there's an element of, I'm just thinking that now. There's an element of that,
Beautiful, Abi. Abi, where do things go for you from here? Apart from
well, hopefully not Holborn Police Station again. Imagine the next time Grajna goes, well, I looked for her book, but it seems to have been removed by the authorities. Well, it's basically book stuff. It's just book stuff, because as I said, as you know, Althea, it's like once you've done a book, you release it, and then it's like, oh, but there's more stuff where you talk. It's great though to do this, because obviously it's my pleasure because when you've spent as long as I did, as hard as I did on this, you don't want to just go, right, it's out anyway, just get on with, because it's, I want as many people to read this as possible, because there's lots of stuff in it which is interesting for all different kinds of reasons. There's even a bonus track at the back, a secret track, which I won't give away, but you'll find it lurking in the back. And so it's a bit sort of just book stuff, and then next year, hoping, well, I'm going to write another book, but also I'm hoping to do more live stuff, and people can, like I said, you'll see it all advertised somewhere.
And so Substack's the main place to find you then?
Substack's the main place to find me, yeah. I mean, I've got to wait. It's very difficult, isn't it? Because I've got more platforms than a hooker's shoe rack at the moment.
Okay.
You just go, hang on a minute, how many? I'm on Rumble, Grumble, Fumble, Mumble, Tumble, Thumble. So hang on a minute. Grujna's only got, she just wants Lulu. That's it. Stop with the, but like Twitter's pretty good, because you can just go on there and go, oh, Abi, our comedian. Abir, it sounds like an Arab, Abir comedian. But Substack, yeah, really good, because you've got all my articles, you've got the podcast, you got the whatever, and then I'll post my gigs and then any links to whatever. Oh, blimey!
Wonderful, Abi. Absolutely fantastic. And Sarah's moved this. Love this. Love this. Sorry.
Love this, Your Honour. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. That's very, very sweet of you. And Grozna and Steve and is it Rose? And sorry, because I can't see all the names, because I'm basically like a blind mole. I need to wear these. But the thing is, I've got these glasses, but they do make me look slightly like a 1970s serial killer with these on. Hello, I've come to read your meter. Sarah, Steve, yes, thank you so much, everyone, for just joining in. Oh yeah, and supporting me. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and Ab, it's been wonderful to have you on. We've come to the top of the hour here, and I just want to say, when you're listening to this, everybody, on record, please like and subscribe and share, because it puts the word out to more and more people can hear what Abby's talking about and get to, perhaps they want to have her book. So please do like, share, and hit the notification bell so the recording gets sent straight to you. And you can find out, you can get the recording. It's going to be out on my website tomorrow at painfreedom.co.uk. And Abi, I always like to leave my guests the last word. How would you like to leave people today?
I've just spotted Grajna's I love you, Abi. Very sweet. Thank you. That was very kind. Yes, I want to leave. Well, just keep your head held high. There are better times ahead. There will also be worse times ahead. But we have one life in this realm. Make it as meaningful as possible, and try and have a laugh while you do it. And also buy the book. Buy Hot Banana. I sound very American and cheesy at the end. And buy my book, please. Yeah, forget all the stuff I said before. Just buy the book. Shameless plugging.
Shameless.
Thank you, Althea, so much for and smiling. Yes, smiling. Yes, smiling. There's nothing. People. It's weird when people do this. Hi, nice to meet you. And there's nothing there. You're like, well, you've got a mouth for smiling. You've got eyes. Don't worry about the lines. This is all great. I find it very attractive, actually, when I see people who they smile a lot because they've got the like men, when they have that really nice, and women when they have that really kind of cheeky, a little bit of a glint in the eye. Don't let people take your joy. When I say people, I mean the powers that be, the state. Don't let them take it, because then they've won. And that's pretty much it. And God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Abby. You've been absolutely wonderful. And
thanks, Althea, for having me.
Thank you for coming on. And I'm sure it's going to touch so many people's hearts. And and intrigue people and connect with so many people. And thank you everybody for joining us, because it wouldn't be a podcast without the guests and the listeners and people coming on and ask the questions and everything. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you very much, Abi, and have a wonderful day.
Bless you. Be seeing you.